por tenerme aquí. Hi, everyone. This is Vanessa Mota, United States President for CAINEM, the Entrepreneur Chamber of Commerce, and I am very happy to have this opportunity. Today, we have Ms. Pam Green. She's an assistant manager with the Richland County Office of Small Business Opportunity and a certified supplier diversity professional. She is a performance focused, goal oriented professional with over 25 years of financial services and business development experience, vast knowledge and success in financial services, business development, sales performance, training, and team development. The mission of the Office of Small Business Opportunity of Richland County, South Carolina, is to provide a race and gender neutral tool for the county to use as its effort to ensure that all segments of the small and local business community have reasonable and significant opportunity to compete and participate in a county contracts in the areas of construction, agricultural, and engineering services, professional services, non professional services, and commodities. The Small Local Business Enterprise Program encourages greater availability, capacity development, and contract participation by Richland County small businesses in non federally funded county contracts. The SLBE program provides additional avenues for the development of new capacity and new sources of competition for county contracts from the growing pool of small and locally based businesses. So, this is very important so that you know if you ever want to come and do business with Richland County, this is who
Right.
you would contact. And as business owners, we always want to go to that next level, which is, county, city, county, federal. And so this is a way to begin. So, Pam, can you tell us a little bit? What's your journey? How did you get to where you are now? And how do you like it?
Based upon my bio, I started out, I was in the banking industry for 17, 18 years.
Uh huh.
But when I ended my career, I ended it working a lot with small businesses and being a part of a task force for small businesses. And probably the biggest thing from that, Vanessa, was talking to those businesses about their challenges. And it was, what do they need to do to get to the next level? And when I left banking, an opportunity to work for state government at the time, dealing with small businesses, kind of fell in my lap. And
Okay.
then from there, it has just been, a ride on the small business train, so to speak. And here I am now with the county. And being with the county was going to allow me to have more of a personal impact or more of a direct impact, which is why I moved over to the county. So I get a chance to still work with small businesses, but a closer relationship and working with these small businesses to keep it a little more personal for me.
Okay. Can you explain how that what's the difference? Like how is that giving you that personal relationship versus when you work with the state?
So when you think about the state, obviously it was the entire state. And at the time, we were in an office with a smaller staff. And what you found yourself doing was just trying to keep up with what needed to be done to kind of meet those state level requirements. And now on the county level, I'm dealing with Richland County businesses, and it is the county. It's a smaller pool, so I feel like I can engage better, and therefore have like a larger impact or a bigger impact, and I have a better understanding of specifically what these businesses are facing to be able to
Mhm.
provide some solutions.
Okay. Okay. And so some of the things that Richland County does specifically with the businesses, what are they? Like some of the things that especially what you work on.
So part of our goal is to advocate for small businesses, making sure that they're also able to compete in the broader market. Even though we talk about the county, we're still trying to make sure that our small businesses are prepared from a capacity building standpoint, from a sustainability standpoint. So the advocating piece, but probably more than anything this year for 2022 has been to truly focus on more technical training. the workshops. Anytime that we see there is a gap, being able to come up with a workshop or a training that's going to basically address the issue. So for us this year, we're looking a lot at financials with small businesses and how to set those things up right from the beginning. Or if you're kind of already in the middle of the process, how do you go back and just redirect to figure out how you need to better position your business and truly understand your numbers? What does it mean if, I've got so many days on payables and receivables? How can I see that in my tax returns or in my financials to understand what I need to adjust? So we're going to get a little more granular this year with the whole financials piece of this and people understanding, because a lot of times people understand, or business owners understand their craft, their service, their product, but not always have the engagement that they need from the business side. So we want to make sure that they are prepared and understand. And then what comes along with that, we have grants that have been rolling out, and it's been very important for businesses to understand their financials when applying for some of the grants that the counties had available to us.
And what brought you guys to that conclusion that a lot of times business owners understand everything, their passion and their product, their services, but they're not understanding the financial piece? How did that come about?
I'll say at the end of last year, when we rolled out the COVID-19 relief grant, for us, it was the information that was required and what we actually received. And with COVID, and I'll speak kind of big picture with COVID, whenever we had the PPP and the EIDL, all the questions we were receiving, even when I was on the state level, of, okay, so now what is this and what is this going to show, and not really being familiar with what was being requested or not being able to produce it. And we kind of knew that was an issue, but being at the county and being kind of front and center with the last grant we rolled out, it was a lot of what we received wasn't exactly what we needed, that could actually disqualify them from being able to be considered for the grant. And so then from there, we develop programs around that, or
So you
workshops.
did. Okay. Can you tell me any that are coming up soon for these small business owners to know
Sure.
about?
And I will share this because a lot of what we do, we post on the OSBO website. But we just had a workshop on Cash App Me the right way. And we have facilitators to talk about, we have now with technology, it makes everything so convenient. And what has happened is that a lot of folks have used Cash App because it is convenient to pay people or to receive, or to receive payment for products and services, but haven't allowed those things to flow over to their financials. That was last week. What we now have coming in a couple of weeks, we have a lunch and learn coming up that's going to talk about how to have an effective capability statement, or prepare, I guess, an effective capability statement. And then the end of March, we're going to have a deep dive into my financials. How do I truly understand the numbers? What is a lending institution looking for? What does it mean to have certain ratio coverages? And then how do I get there? If I'm not there for my financials, what do I need to do to adjust to get there? To be viewed by a lender, to be reviewed by a potential partner, that basically puts the best foot forward for the business. And that will be March 26th.
Okay. I have a question for you. That Cash App Me, do you have it in Spanish?
We do not. And
The
guess
reason
what?
why I ask this is because Cash App, a lot of the Latino businesses have a lot of problems and they mix it with their personal. And it's a big problem that's becoming, around here in the business community. So,
Right.
yeah,
Okay. So what you've just thrown out there is that we need to have it in Spanish.
yeah, it needs to
And you
be
and
in.
I need to talk.
Yeah, maybe we can talk after this.
We
That
can
would
talk
be
after
nice.
this.
Okay. The other thing is, okay, so that comes with the diversity piece. How are you guys diversifying?
We've made a targeted effort when we're looking to grow our SOBE database.
we have looked at a couple things. We've looked at where our deficiencies are as far as the 6 certifying categories. And then we've also looked at the mix in those categories. So
Okay.
we've tried to make sure that we are a part of any type of events or functions that are going on. So with our partners or with our partnerships, we're making sure we're in front of certain audiences. And
Okay.
just like with Mota,
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
partnering with the class that you had the last session, it's for us to get into those venues to really talk about what the county can do and how we are trying to diversify and find opportunities for, the different sectors.
And that's a big deal. And this is why leading fantastic, you're a great leader, because as soon as that, as soon as I brought the idea, you jumped on it and made sure everybody else jumped on it. And this, in reality, when you came to this class, they're still talking about it, and they talk about it amongst it because they didn't realize that the county had these services.
Right.
And a lot of them fear different things, and they're eligible to do it. They just don't realize that they're eligible to do it. And then they think that there's something behind it, and it's explaining all that. I know that there's a few that are going through it now,
Right.
and they're satisfied, or they're there is paperwork involved in everything, but a lot of times the paperwork scares them away too. So that's why we have offered to help them as well to get through that process. But anyways, that's a great thing, and that's very it's very positive when you see people jumping to these opportunities, because it's a way to diversify, not just keeping it, two ways. It's opening the door for other people to come in and join and do everything that they need to. So you always try to go into the platforms. What's another thing that you guys try to do to get into different communities, like Latino, Asian, just different communities aside from the ones that you guys already have? So how do you target that
I think
diverse market?
in those situations, it has been, I know that when I was with the state and working with you, you were helping me to get into the other markets. I know that I've attended some of your other events with other ethnic backgrounds, and it's just being able to have more of a presence, and we have to keep it top of mind because we kind of get into our status quo of what we do, and sometimes someone has to remind us, and I know when I was at the state, you were the reminder for me.
Yeah.
But for us to make sure that we are keeping it top of mind, I will say one of the things we did talk about, the county has maybe 27 or 28 different departments. And with that, we talked about the diversifying piece. And we did talk about how we're trying to get more into um, different types of organizations to be able to diversify the pool. And we want to be able to allow opportunities across the board in keeping with our mission. So I'm going to bring it back to really trying to rely on multi enterprises to help me with that, and keeping that top of mind, for me.
Thank you very much. Now I want to ask you something, a woman to woman, since we're getting into March and
Mhm.
it's Women's Month, and being of a minority yourself, and we are celebrating Black History still. This
Right.
is my Celebrando Black
I love it.
history. It's a woman, and she has the what is it called? The fall, the waterfall.
The waterfall.
Yeah, and it was done by Dragonflies and Roses, but on one side it has sorry, it has
Mhm.
the United States in the top, then Africa, and then South America,
Oh,
as we have,
wow.
African Americans, Africans, Afro Latinos, and then the motherland of Africa.
That's nice. I like
So
that.
yeah, thank you.
I
But
like
anyway, so tell me your story on that. What are some of the bad things that you have had to go through as a woman and a minority, to get to this position that you have now, and what is something great about it too?
So some of the challenges, I grew up in corporate America, and I was in banking, and what I experienced a lot of times was being the only one in the room that looked like me. And I think with it came a mindset that you always felt you had to prove yourself,
Uh-huh.
that you were worthy to be at the table, and making sure that the ideas that you shared were taken seriously, because the environment corporately, it was white America and it was white male. And for me, it was to remain consistent and authentic, and to be able to deliver on my ideas and then be adamant about it. And I became this person that if I saw pieces of an idea that I had shared and I saw that they were taking it to run somewhere else with somebody else, I was very vocal.
Okay.
Okay. I was very vocal. And to the point that I felt like they started to like take me seriously, and
Okay.
realize that, okay, now if she's not at the table on this, we're going to hear from her. And then from there, that is how my corporate career really took off, to being able to be over several different states, to things of that nature. Um, the great thing about it is that I am able to work in any environment. And with it came this level of confidence, not arrogance, that I deserve to be at the table, and that I have fresh, innovative ideas that are usually going to move things forward. And I'll tell anyone, women have to always embrace the authority of their experience because of what we bring to the table. And we see things from a different perspective that I don't always think some of the status quo that may be in corporate America or in government, of how to get things done and be inclusive,
Okay.
which helps with the whole DE and I that we hear more and more about every day. I think women do that well.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not about women do that well,
Yeah.
um, to make sure that we are inclusive, and whether that's our nurturing, the nurturing piece of us, a nurturing piece of us, or what, I don't know, but we do that well to make sure that we are including others and making sure that we create an atmosphere of belonging as opposed to just fitting in.
Thank you very much. What is the okay, thank you very much. And I mean, actually I am taking a lot from that too for myself. This is great advice. I would like for you to leave us with an advice for all business owners coming from your background, who you are, your beliefs. If you could, and thank you very much for everything. This was a great
Oh, well,
interview.
thank you. I appreciate being a part of this too. I guess for all business owners, I would say to, we always want to remain humble and hungry, but I also, you never know who's going to be your potential client. And I always say that everyone is a client, whether they're going to purchase, use your product or service. If they don't, they can always refer. So you've got to always put your best image forward. And I think that comes with always trying to be authentic, because when people see that you're authentic, they buy into you and whatever it is that you do, what you produce, what have you. So I would say to put your best stuff forward, be authentic, know that everyone that you come in contact with is a potential client, and that relationships matter. You always want to build. I'm like, relationships matter. You and I know that relationships matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. Thank you very much. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
everything. And I hope you have a great weekend.
Thank you.
And again, now we're getting ready to celebrate International Women's Month. So
Yay.
I hope you have
I'm
a great
excited.
month too. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, Vanessa.
All
Thank you
right.
for all that you do.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm
Hola.
good. I'm
Good.
good, Vanessa. Hola. How are you?
Hola. So I'm going to introduce you first.
Okay.
So this is Tim James. 30 years of progressive management and leadership experience in community, civic, public safety, development, and related professional organizations. Diverse background in successful program implementation from the development stages. Proven success in fostering relationships with clients, volunteers, and service stakeholders to increase productivity. Experienced in strategic planning, mission development, and talent identification. Budget formation and fiscal management experience, along with identifying alternative funding sources, skilled in public speaking, communications, as well as civic and professional presentations to a variety of audiences. So, Mr. Tim James is the president for the Greater Casey West Columbia Chamber of Commerce, and I have been here for so many years, but I've never seen the chamber as active as it is right now. I am a proud member and
Yes,
an
you
ambassador
are. Yes,
now,
you are.
and we're really involved. And I I'm going to tell you, you're here because you're one of the leading Fantastic Five recognized. We see your leadership. We see all the things that you're doing, all the programs that you're implementing. Every time I hear something, Tim James, the president, and it's great stuff. And we want for people to know. So, two things. The first thing is, I would love for you to tell me who you were before you came to become the president um, of the of the West Columbia Chamber of Commerce, and what it is that you're doing now that makes a difference from all the prior years.
Thank you. Vanessa, before I start telling you a little bit about me, I want to say thank you to you and your team, Mota Enterprises. You guys are just really on fire and doing some great things. And we're able to plug in and be a little more diversified ourselves as a chamber because of you and Ulysses. And I want to say thank you for being that conduit for us to be able to do that. We want to succeed, and you'll succeed by diversifying. And one of those diversities is certainly through you guys. So thanks a lot for that.
Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, thank you. So where did I begin? 12 years old, I was a kid that decided I wanted to go to be a cadet at a local police department, which is the city of Casey. And at 12 years old, they allowed me to be a cadet and wear a uniform. And at 18 years old, when my mother wanted me to go to college, I decided no, I wanted to go straight into the field of law enforcement. So I was hired by the city of Casey after being a cadet for 6 years and was a jailer and a police officer. I rose through the ranks there to become the director of public safety for law enforcement services as well as the fire services. I was 30 years old before I went back to school. Education is extremely, extremely important. However, when I graduated high school, financially, it was not an option for us. However, I did have a full-time job that I loved and was able to go straight into working. So 30 years old before I was able to obtain my higher education. From the city of Casey, I was the assistant sheriff for the county, where we ran not only law enforcement services and criminal processes, but also we were in charge of a population of over 800 prisoners. And from there, I had the great opportunity of working for the state law enforcement division, where I retired as the assistant director. And once I retired from the law enforcement spectrum, I went back over to Lexington Medical Center and worked in development, where I was able to continue to stress to the community the great things that Lexington Medical Center was doing through development, giving opportunities for others to be able to help that healthcare service grow. And today, Lexington Medical Center is over 7,000 employees, and it is a highlight for healthcare services in the Midlands and South Carolina. And being that I had the opportunity to work throughout the community for so many years, my wife and I did take a hiatus to Florida for a little while, but when we returned here, the Chamber of Commerce reached out, and they were in need for someone who kind of knew the community and maybe some leadership skills in the background. And it's been an honor for me to be able to serve in that capacity as their CEO and president. We've got great leadership. We've got a great team of people. We've got a board of directors that's just absolutely wonderful and love the community. So it's ideal for me, Vanessa, it's really a prayer answered to allow me to continue to be plugged into the municipalities that I love so much.
Okay, so let me ask you, what is that? You have such a spark with leadership that you have everyone so enthusiastic working with you, from your admissions manager to everybody, everyone I speak to. So, what's the secret?
Thank you for saying that. I don't know that it's a secret, but I will tell you this: we never do anything that we truly don't believe in. And if you believe in it, then you can share that belief with others. And so I hope my passion comes through in this video, saying I love the community. And through that community, what we have is business and citizens and government working together every single day. And we're starting to see super benefits of that. So I like to share that excitement with people. And I think people would rather be around someone who has some excitement in them and somebody who has a true belief than maybe somebody who doesn't and that's just doing it because it's quote unquote a job. So never ever accept something that you don't truly believe in, because when you believe in it, you'll be able to quote unquote sell it to others, and the others will be more than happy to be able to kind of do. I've got a great book that I love reading and referring back to, and it's about our forefathers. And one of the things that George Washington said years ago is, if I was to die on the battlefield, would I have inspired my people enough to continue on and carry through with what I had, began? If you're not inspiring your people enough to be able to do it on their own, or to be able to do it when you're not here, then maybe you aren't inspired yourself. So I hope that what I'm doing is sharing and encouraging some inspiration with others.
You really are, and I'll give you from my personal experience. I know Ulysses has been going, and I'm going to start attending.
Thank
Uh,
you. Good, good.
yeah,
We
one of the
want you
things.
there. We want you there.
No, I will, and I'll tell you the way that, because I watch, I observe, and I can tell you what I have gotten out of it, and this is amazing, and I hope you continue doing this as a member, a paying member, and to become an ambassador, and we have like a very busy schedule.
Mhm.
You give so much passion that you see that potential in there and why we need to be in there,
Absolutely.
and we don't see it as, oh, we don't have time, it's it's running out of time, or things like that. It's a way to look at to continue growing. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, to continue growing as business owners. So that's what this is the what has gotten to me the most contagious, the most contagious part that I have seen, and I'm ready to be a part of it, and I'm just excited about it. And then I see your administrator, and I see her in Spanish class, and she's so excited to be a part of the
It's
Chamber
awesome.
of Commerce. So you give that passion to your people, and they're spreading it everywhere. So
Well,
this is
thank you. And we are certainly we have staff that you speak of Christina and others. And oh my goodness gracious, I'm just privileged to be able to work with those folks without a doubt. But we also work through volunteerism, as
yes,
you
and I
speak of
love
with
that.
ambassadors and
Mhm.
our small business
Yeah.
advisory group. These are folks that we recognize are busy people, professionals. And for us to be able to call them together for an hour, they need to see a return on investment of that hour. So we
Yes.
don't want them to come in and feel like, oh my goodness gracious, we're still talking about the same stuff we talked about last time we were here. Absolutely not. We want them to leave out saying, I am inspired. I know this is something new. This is something I can take back to my workplace and be able to put in, or this is some partnerships that I have been able to grow today that's going to help me. That way, they know that their being busy and being taken away from that workplace is worth it. And
Yes.
that is something that we are striving to do. We would rather not have a meeting if it's not going to be a good return on investment for everybody.
And then from there grows the whole, I'm ready to volunteer in places, but you have my name out there more. I understand that, and I love it. I love your formula. It's really nice, but it's all in passion. And like I said, you give that passion out.
Thank you so much. I'm proud to hear that. Thank you so much. I love that. Yeah. We all have 24 hours a day. You know, God didn't say, Vanessa, you get 23 and Tim, you get 24. No, we all get 24 hours a day. So we've got to figure out, how do we use that 24 hours a day? And as a leader, part of my job is that if I'm asking for people to give, I need to make sure that they recognize that that hour or 2 hours that they gave was extremely beneficial. If not, they're going to look somewhere else to be able to spend that hour.
Good. And another thing is you're very, the Chamber of Commerce, you've made it very diverse. I see it. Now, what are you doing to reach that? Because you're in the pot, you're in a melting pot. Like you have the Asians here in West Colombia, you have the Latinos, then you have the indigenous people,
Right.
you have all these people here. What's the way that you're reaching these people?
Well, and you had a previous interview a few moments ago, and that interview, he said the same thing. And I don't want to go on to anything about what the chamber's doing before I again, say thank you to Mota. A lot of what we're doing is through you, and I use you guys as a fine example many times. And what you said in asking me the question is absolutely correct. We're diversified on steroids right now throughout our community, and no one is more or less important than the other. We have got to find ways to be able to help. And so I'll give an example of a new car dealership that came to town, and the gentleman said, I'm needing to hire new employees. However, I'm not able to speak Spanish, but I know some of these applicants can't speak English. Tim, do you know what I can do? And I said, absolutely, I know what you can do. I'm going to hook you up with Mota. And what your heart is at Mota is, we want to land people a good job. And, you are teaching people every single day. My heart fell out the day I sat down there and watched a young man learning English. And this young man is learning English because he wants a job. So we've got a new business coming to town that is trying to hire people, but some of the folks they're trying to hire doesn't speak English. You are that bridge. I was able to send that gentleman and refer him to you so that you would be able to help a young man that maybe doesn't speak English to land a job. And that is trying to do some outreach to diversity. And while that's outreach, we as a chamber need to do what I'll call inreach. And Christina West, who is on staff, she decided that learning Spanish would be something that she'd like to do.
Yes.
And I truly believe it is a win-win for us as a Chamber of Commerce. She is in your class to be able to learn Spanish. We have a population coming into the Midlands area that needs someone from a business perspective to be able to communicate on a better level with them. And so Christina has taken on that. So outreach and inreach, we're trying to work it from both sides of the spectrum, and be able to be a more diversified chamber. I'm real happy to be able to tell you that at our last chamber breakfast, we had an African-American lady who came up to us afterwards, and she says, I am going to dub you guys the friendly chamber. And I said, well, I love that, but why? She goes, I just feel like I've got so many friends here just by coming in, and I've been to others that I didn't feel that. I want that feeling. I want anybody from any walk of life to come in and feel that they are at home. And that's kind of prideful to staff and the board and I, to be known as the friendly chamber.
Well, I will tell you another thing that I hope this right here, you just told me something and you left me very amazed. A lot of people in your position would have, you said the outreach and the inreach. You're doing it perfectly, because even though you have Christina and she's learning Spanish and she's great at it and she's going to learn it really good, but you're not that person, that boss that's saying, oh, well, Christina's learning Spanish, let her translate for you, let her do this. So now she has become the chamber administrator, the translator for the businesses, so it's overworking that one person, but you're doing the outreach with the partnerships. That's the correct way to do things. And that's when you see the passion and the love that you have for everyone, from your internal all the way to external. And that's a very big key. And a lot of places, and I've seen it firsthand, big organizations have people, those people are supposed to be in charge of programs, and they're translating for other people, interpreting for other people, for outsiders. So what's happening? They're exhausting their team.
That's true. That's true. That's very, very true. You cannot overwork them or exhaust them. We all have that point that we come to, and we're not good at what we're doing if we're exhausted.
So in reach and outreach. Now, I have a question for you. So as the West Columbia Chamber, you see that you're in a melting pot as the president. Now, remember, you have people watching from other countries. If they have businesses and they want to come here, what is a way that the West Columbia Chamber can help them? Because you're going to start seeing it as the president for the United States Chamber of Entrepreneurs. We're going to have conferences here. So what is something that the West Columbia Chamber can offer them so that they can, who knows, start opening businesses here, big companies, and that's more, they're benefiting and we're benefiting as a city.
So, we're very fortunate to be bigger than one city. The city of Casey, city of West Columbia, the town of Springdale, Pine Ridge, Swansea, Gaston, South Congaree, they all encompass the greater Casey West Columbia Chamber of Commerce. So we are west of Columbia and everything that encompasses. What we have recognized, to answer your question specifically, Vanessa, is it's hard enough for someone that's not from this area to begin a business, let alone even people who are from this area. This is a tough thing to be able to manage and to be able to get into and understand. We as a Chamber of Commerce, we want to be that bridge for folks so that we can communicate for them to the respective cities, so that when they need to get a business license or when they need to be able to get other type licensings or permits to do things, that it's not so complicated that it's frustrating and they just say, you know what, it's not for me, because it is for anyone who has that desire. We just need to be able to help them. I mentioned a few moments ago my dear friend Tom Ledbetter, who is the entrepreneur VP for Midlands Technical College. He serves as the chairperson of our Small Business Administration. And through that Small Business Administration committee, what we are doing also is offering ourselves up as a tutor, if you will, to any person who has a desire to become a business person or just even wants to explore it, to be able to come in and sit with 2 or 3 other business people that have opened their own business so that they can help them chart out the pathway so that it's not so confusing for them. Vanessa, what we're hoping we're doing here is, number one, encouraging and supporting and inspiring people to become entrepreneurs in the business world, but then most importantly, taking the fear out of it by being able to have some mentors and tutors right along with them to do it.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Thank you very much, Tim. I would like for you to leave us with a message from Tim James on leadership. And thank you so much for this interview.
I would leave everyone with the message that relationships are primary and everything else is a derivative. If we build positive and good and strong relationships, other things will come along. And hard work is building relationships. So that kind of comes together. But as you're building these great relationships, people will always be there to support you and direct you and guide you. And when the tough times come, you'll have those relationships to call upon. Work hard, build relationships.
Thank you very much, Tim. I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful rest of the year. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you, and Ulysses and Mota for everything that you guys do.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I hope you are.
Yeah, I'm doing great also. Okay, so I'm going to introduce you first. So
Okay.
Tom Ledbetter is a management professional with 40 plus years. Experience in rapidly changing advanced manufacturing technology development, small business management, and higher education sectors. His experience includes line, staff, and executive management responsibilities across a broad spectrum of organizational disciplines. in both public sector and private sector organizations, and in launching and running his own business. Since 2003, Tom has been an employee of Midlands Technical College in Columbia, most recently being named Associate Vice Provost of Entrepreneurship and Educational Support. Mr. Ledbetter also owns his own business, Next Phase Management LLC, established in 2002 as a small business consultant. As well, I mean, it's a whole book and I could read it and it's beautiful. Um, as well, Tom is a true believer of diversity, inclusion, and connection. Uh, Tom, you have always believed in us and you have been a part of this business academy from the beginning, and we have partnered up with Midlands Technical College and your business. We are very, very excited to have you here today. And we would like you to tell us a little bit more about your business and what you do at Midlands Technical College, please.
Well, I'll start with saying thank you for the opportunity to be here, Vanessa.
Thank you.
I truly enjoy the opportunity to work with you guys there at MIGMA, and I admire the work. I reflect what Tim said. I admire the work that you're doing in the community, and I have had the opportunity to watch you grow from essentially a storefront to where you are right now with the academy. And that is very, very satisfying to see that take root and take hold here in the West Columbia area. I'm in my role right now at Midlands Technical College. I'm in my 19th year here at Midlands Tech, and I'd like to say that's not 19 years experience, or that's not 1 year's experience 19 times. That is 19 years of accumulated experience and having to do with a lot of things in the community. My current role is Associate Vice Provost for Entrepreneurship and for Educational Support. Now, that's two very distinct activities. The entrepreneurship, as I like to use the word intentional self-employment as the mantra for entrepreneurship. And I work with students, faculty, staff, and members of the community that we serve, which is Lexington, Richland, and Fairfield counties here in the middle of the state, to help people work through the mechanics of starting a business or taking an existing business and moving it in an upward direction. All right, so we just want to try to grow a business because, as you know, in business you can't sit still. If you're not growing, you're dying, and you have to be constantly looking for the next opportunity. So that's I work with people to do that. I work with individuals, and it's COVID had a negative impact on my activities because people just stopped getting together. But now over the last 6 months, I'm seeing that pick back up. And the interest that really is coming out of what's being referred to as the Great Resignation right now. People are leaving their job to go to another job. Some portion of that population is saying to themselves, I don't want to work for anybody anymore. I want to be my own boss. I want to be in business for myself. And we're seeing a surge in that interest. And that's across socioeconomic boundaries. That's across ethnic boundaries. That's across every element that I'm seeing right now. And that's great. The other piece of my job is that I'm responsible for the growth and planning of 3 of our 7 campuses. One is our Batesburg-Leesville campus. These are our what we refer to as our rural campuses. It's a Batesburg-Leesville campus, and our campus in Winsboro, which is in Fairfield County, and have responsibility for Fort Jackson. We provide a lot of non-military training to civilians and to military personnel at Fort Jackson. So all of those are exciting. All of those are interesting. But my first love one of the things I enjoy most in working with someone that opens a new business is leaning across the table and shaking their hand and say, congratulations, you're now the owner of the newest business in the state of South Carolina. And the look, the feel, the sense of success at that point is overwhelming for both parties. But that's just the start, as you know. that's just the start of the trials and tribulations of being in business today. You see a lot of folks out there right now that are having to they're having to move the direction of their business. So and because their customers have changed, there are new markets, there are new opportunities. They're dealing with supply chain issues. They're dealing with service issues. They're dealing with quality issues. It's almost a perfect storm of opportunity right now along all those fronts. And I say opportunity specifically because I not only look at those from all those problems, from all those difficulties, but I'm looking at and working with people to have them understand that wherever those difficulties are, wherever those problems are, there is an opportunity lurking in the background. All you got to do is be able to look. Yep.
This is with your business, right?
Well, this is with Midlands Tech also.
Okay, with Midlands Tech. Okay.
Yes. Okay. But in the background, I have Next Phase Management LLC, which is it was formed as a small business consultancy. While I've been with Midlands Technical College, number one, I've been way too busy at Midlands Tech to pursue things with my company, and number two, I just set it aside for a while because I was developing these programs for Midlands Technical College. And I love the people here. I love higher education. I love our sector of higher education, which is the community college system in the country. And I think it's just outstanding. However, I am getting a little long in the tooth. All right. And I have, at some point in time, I'm going to retire. And I've got that spark. I've got that entrepreneurial, self-employed spark. Intentionally self-employed spark in me that I want to say I got one gig left in me, and I'm going to do something for myself. When I do retire from Midlands Technical College. But I see people like you and Ulysses, and I see other organizations in town who are figuring out a really good way to maneuver in the business community here in town. And I agree with Tim. You're bringing something to our community that we've been lacking. And that is that essential bridge, or that cross, as you call it, a cross-linking that's not been there. And now it is. And we're starting to see the benefits of that.
Okay. Thank you, Tom. Now I want you to talk about your business. So let's say you retire. What services are you offering in this business? Because I always see Next Phase, and I can't wait to start working with Next Phase too, which pretty soon we will. And I'm excited to see your content and everything. But can you tell us some of the services that you will be offering with Next Phase?
Through Next Phase, I can do essentially a broad base business profiling and workup from an idea that someone brings to the table. They typically walk in my office and say, I've got this idea, and and I think I want to make a business out of it, or I don't want to have an idea, but I want to go into that business because I see that business is going to have some growth and some prosperity. I am a data-based business analyst, right? And if you come to me and say, this is going to be a good business to be in, I'm going to ask you to prove it. I'm going to ask you to do the research necessary to show me, number one, that there's a market, and number two, that you have a product or service offering that market's going to be interested in, and number three, that you can actually, if it's an existing market, that you can actually compete in it. And if it's not an existing market, how are you going to break into it? They may not have all the answers, but I've got all the questions. So I'm gonna play Q&A with them and that's essentially what I do. I will help with solutioning. I will help with barrier overcoming or working around. I will help with the idea of what's another way to go about it, because there are many different ways to approach the same problem. And more often than not, and you know how this is, you come in, you've got this idea, I want to deliver mikvah, I want to deliver something to the community, and I need startup funding. And I go back to conversations that we had and conversations that I've had with other folks. They come in and say, well, I've invented this little stopwatch, and it's a great idea, and I need $500,000, to get everything started with it. Well, between me and you and the fence post, there's nobody going to loan you $500,000, to a new business, and banks aren't going to pay any attention to you for the first 3 years that you're in business. So I've got this mantra that's on the wall outside my office here that says, think big, start small, and move fast. Right? Those 3 things. So when I look at somebody with an idea, or I look at what I can do with somebody, I will help them paint the picture of what their business is going to look like. I'm also going to back down from that. I'm going to say, and here's where you have to start. You have to start somewhere other than needing $500,000 to get started. You need $5 to get started. All right. So let's cook this down. But once you're there, learn how to move fast and make things happen in your business. And then it grows at that point.
And how would you use the same formula for all these viewers that will, let's say they want, they're international, all these viewers that are international, let's say they want to do business here. How would you, is this something that your next phase can offer them as well?
Well, that's something that next phase could offer them. But, one of the first things that you have to learn in business, if you're not any good at it, don't try to do it. All right. So there's all kinds of things you have to do in a business. I'm not an accountant. All right. So, but as I've told you before, I can smell a set of cookbooks from across the street, but I'm not an accountant. I'm not a CPA. I'm not a lawyer, but I know quite a bit about business law just from what I've experienced. If you've got somebody in your network that wants to come here and start a business or work internationally through website delivery, et cetera, my first call is going to be to you. All right. As that connector, because, I don't have the experience. I have the experience of working for a large corporation internationally, but I don't have the experience of working with a small business person internationally. Now I can use you to help translate the offering. And then we go back, think big, start small, move fast. We use the same formula to get what I refer to as plant a stake in the ground and say, okay, I'm in business from Peru and I'm in Peru, but I'm doing business in West Columbia, South Carolina, starting this afternoon. It would be both of us that would be working with that client to make that happen.
Okay, thank you.
To have the complete toolbox.
No,
I have tools and you have tools, and we need both of them.
See, and that's all in collaborating with each other and association. I love that. I have a question for you. So one of the things that I've seen you and that you're great with is time management. What would you recommend for those business owners? I don't know about other communities, but I know in the Latino community, they seem to get frustrated sometimes when they're working their business, they're educating themselves, they are, becoming part of associations and things, and they're like, we don't have time. How is a business owner? Because you know that if you keep on growing, you have to have time because, so what advice would you give them on this?
Well, first advice I'd start with would be know everything about yourself that you can. All right. You have to know your own strengths and weaknesses, in order to be successful. And what I know about myself, and I don't even want to say this out loud. I'm in the 49th year of my business career. All right. And I know myself. One of the things that I have learned about myself is that if I need to be productive, I'm productive from 5 in the morning until 10 in the morning. That's my prime time to get things done. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm a morning person. I'm up and going. If I'm still in the bed at 7 o'clock, time's are wasting. All right, because I'm behind schedule. If I need to be creative, down at the bottom of that list is move fast, or start small and move fast. If I need to help you be creative doing that, I'm going to do that after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, because normally I'm so worn out that the barriers to creativity have fallen away. And I can, I like to ideate late in the day. In between there is where, between 10 in the morning and 5 and 4 in the afternoon, is where I focus working for other people. All right. So I discipline myself to meet the discipline necessary to help a Vanessa, or to help a Ulysses, or to help a Tim, or to help the young lady that does the catering. That I love her food so much that she's come through our fast track classes. All right, she's the one that makes the
tacos.
Yes, the tacos.
Oh,
yes,
right. Yeah, she's really good at. Yeah, she really does. Yeah.
But when you look at that activity and time management, you've got to develop a skill set of saying, number one, as a manager, I have to manage risks associated with my business, and in time management needs to include time for managing risk. And risk is understanding the likelihood of something happening and the impact of that if it does happen. And you can characterize. I use a 0 to 5 scale on the x-axis and the y-axis, to calibrate risk. Is it right now? It would be a disaster if I got involved in a car accident this afternoon and wasn't here tomorrow. Likelihood of that is not very high, I'm going to say right now. So I look at it and say, okay, well, that's nothing I need to worry about. But if something, a health problem is likely with a health history and the impact of that's both a high risk and or a high probability and a high impact. I need to be paying attention to that. So you train yourself to use these simple little tools to orient your day and to focus what you need to be focused on. And then you say to yourself, I'm going to give from 5 to 10 is my productive time. From 4 on is for other folks to benefit from creativity, etc. In between, I'm deciding on a basis of a priority what needs to be done. And that's to me, time management is understanding and continually prioritizing the activities that float in front of you.
Thank you.
And the great Prussian, I think it was the Prussian strategist in general, said that no plan for battle survives first contact with the enemy. All right, so you can plan all day, but once you engage, something's going to start happening, and you got to pay attention to it. And you see that in your businesses as you go about. But also the Chinese general and strategist Sun Tzu, who wrote The Art of War, also says the general that knows himself knows 1,000 victories. So time management, priority setting starts with understanding you, and that's what I coach people on. That I coach people on the steps necessary. A lot of folks will come in and say, I want to jump from point A to point Z and not do anything in between. All right, I want to come up with an idea and go out with $1 million in sales. there's a lot of things in between point A and point Z, and that makes all the difference in the world.
Thank you very much, Tom. I really appreciate you. Thank you for everything. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful month. And just thank you for everything. Okay.
Well, thank
This
you for
was
the opportunity
amazing.
to participate with you, Vanessa. Okay.
No, thank you. Thank you. Hi, everyone. This is Ulysses Chavez. I know, are we running out of time or are they going to let us? Oh, okay. All right, perfect. So, Ulysses Chavez, this is our final leading Fantastic Five, and he is here because he has great leadership skills. He does great work in the community, and he is one to bring the social with the business together. So, for example, for us here at the academy, we have great programs, and we have the event coordinators. We have everything. Ulises with Anglo Latino Promotions is always helping us create these wonderful events. Plus, he has partnerships with different places like the State Museum and other places from the past. I don't know if they're still current or not, but he's made a difference bringing the culture and social aspects into the business. So Ulysses Chavez was born in Mexico City, Mexico, father of two wonderful girls, married to a smart and classy woman, moved to the U.S. back in 2001, lived in South Carolina ever since. CEO of Anglo Latino Promotions LLC, multicultural event and producer, marketing director for the Columbia International Festival, Hispanic liaison, marketing and public relations manager, Mota Enterprises Marketing, and public relations manager, South Carolina Latina and International Project. Ulysses Chavez is also a co-instructor for the CEO track at Mota Crosslinking Business Academy. Freelance writer in both Spanish and English, general manager of the Americas Servicios, a local company which does, accounting, small business, open up consulting, startups. Proud of his roots, and he's also proud of his roots and having the privilege to connect people from all sorts, races, and beliefs through music and cultural events. Creator of the Herencia Hispana Festival in South Carolina and creator of the South Carolina Hispanic Heritage Gala. Board of Directors member for the and member for the Filipino Association. He is also the president or coordinator for MECBA Ambassadors and coordinator for the South Carolina Latino Business Day and Proclamation. Music, culture, and food are the best weapons to connect people. This is what Mr. Chavez believes. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about how you got here?
Hi, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here once again with CAINEM. Vanessa, thank you for the invitation. And when you say how did I get here, you mean to South Carolina or to where I'm at today, professionally speaking?
Where you are today, professionally speaking.
Well, it's been a journey, and I think hearing the prior bios from the prior uh, visitors today in this show, um, it makes me realize that I'm not even halfway done with things, and yes, I want that. Yes, I wanna expand my knowledge, of course, and but it's been a journey for me and for the family, for my family, who's always with me. I mentioned last time the company started with the wrong, with the wrong food back in the days. This is back in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, where it was nightclubs and organizing parties at the nightlight level. And life changes, and it's full of ups and downs, and um, me missing an important success in one of my youngest daughter, the youngest one, uh, made me realize in that I needed to, to innovate. And my oldest daughter also was going through changes, uh, from a little girl to a preteen, and then that actually reinforced my beliefs for the company to take a new route. So that combined with my joy of putting events together and getting people together at a social level, like you say, because what you guys do at Mota Enterprises and Mota Cross Lincoln Business Academy, you guys bring people together through. You guys put the cultures together through business, which is very disruptive as well. But me, I'm more about music, the food, the culture as well, and learning from each other. And I love to learn about your culture, the dances, not the typical dances, but the deep things. And to me, putting events together is my passion. Ever since I was born, I mean, music it's been within me. You know, I learned dancing since I was 5, 6 years old, and that's the reason I mentioned that is because it has created who I am. That's the reason. That's the reason that I am where I'm at today, because the way I was raised, my mom was a very uh, outgoing person. I was always involved at events, cultural events, museums down in Mexico. I was always the life of the party. So I took my passion, I turned it into a career. I love writing, of course. I love what I do, and that's my passion, and that's and to me, when I do that, actually, it doesn't even feel like a job. To me, it's like I get paid to do what I love.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can you give us an example of, for example, and I would like you to talk a little bit more about this, when you brought, what is some of the process or what makes you different from other promotional companies, your Anglo Latino productions, promotions, what you did at the museum, what was disruptive and what was the process? And then also when you do the Latino Business Day, it's supposed to, most people look at these proclamation days as something very serious, but
Mhm.
you brought something different to it. So can you explain us first? Let's begin um, with the museum, and then talk about how you bring also the cultural and social part into a business. So how would you, so that business owners out there and organizations know how Anglo Latino is that bridge and what it is that you can bring
Uh,
to it?
okay, we've been lucky enough to collaborate with big institutions here in South Carolina, the State Museum for once, the International Festival, at some point the Columbia Fireflies, and other entities. But the idea of the disruption of the company and what we are different from other companies is, first of all, first and foremost, uh, we're bilingual. And that is a big plus. That allows our company to work with two different markets, with English speaking market, which is the number one here in the United States, whether you're Asian, African, Latino, Hispanic, you name it, but we all speak English. And for those who are business owners or companies that are in need, or government entities, museums, parks that are in need of somebody that speaks Spanish to put it events for the Hispanic community, especially for Hispanic Heritage Month. That's where we come in. But me being Latino, it doesn't mean that I always keep it to my roots and myself. I love to work with other people. I like to get in touch with other cultures. I love learning, and that's what different. That makes the difference in our company. That most of the marketing companies, they target one market. With us, again, being bilingual, that is a big plus, and that allows us to outreach more people and help more people, corp levels, small parties, small gatherings, big events. Now, the South Carolina Latino Hispanic Business Day. Well, uh, like you
Before
mentioned,
we get to that, Ulises, I want
yes,
you to explain. So, at the museum, you bring the Latino culture of different varieties. For example, Mexican, Peruvian, Spanish,
yes,
everybody. You bring them together, but you are very specific of what is of each country. For example, if the maracas come from here, that's where they need
yes.
to
That
go.
that's
Hold on,
yeah.
let me finish the food and the social part. So you do this so that, what is it? So that other communities and other ethnicities can learn. So you're bringing the South American countries to the United States here in our local home, in South Carolina. That's a little bit. I would love for you to explain a little bit more about that, so that kids can learn. So that, because sometimes people think of, oh, it's a Latino festival, it's for Latinos. Oh, it's a Hispanic Heritage Month festival. The majority are Latinos. How would you cross link there? What would you tell people? What's the importance? What is the disruptive part of this?
The disruption will come in first of all, following the vision that I had. Because you're right. Normally, when you have Hispanic Heritage Month, for instance, uh, every single company, only the ones that are willing to tap into a different market, they will look for us. But I think one of my vision is to break that circle. Is the events that we create is for there for everybody, not just for one ethnicity. And the meaning behind it is for me to educate people, because they think that we're all Mexican. They think that we all come from the same, that we listen and eat and smell the same, but we don't. We Latin America, for example, like any other culture, has so much to offer, and that's my goal. Like, to show that, to educate the kids, and to be able to bring the culture, to being able to bring the music, the food, and everything that comes with it to where we at. There's people that don't have the opportunity to travel overseas, and the events. That's my main goal, to connect people to that culture, and that that saying that I have music, food, and are the best weapons. They are, and to me, creating events where everybody comes together. Like right now, I would love to create something where Russians and Ukrainians can come together and really put aside what's going on, because first of all, we're humans, and how do you do that? I mean, learn from each other, give yourself the opportunity to learn, and the events that we create are the main focus is create a room, create a space where everybody can come together and be one and learn from each other, enjoy from each other.
Through
You
food
know,
and social.
exactly, socialize. And without putting aside that you're black, you're brown, you're yellow, you're probably no. That's not what our company is about. No, we are very friendly. We love everybody, and we just always try to bring everybody to the table. And we are trying to serve as a bridge, and educate people in the funniest way possible, which is through events. Again, food, music. Those are the basics. Because it is actually sad now that we're speaking about this, that at school with kids, they have all these questions, and it's sad that having all these tools, like online tools, like Google, whatever, they still have these questions about cultures. Kids now in 2022 still thinking that we're all the same, that every culture is the same, and there's a lot of programs, beautiful
Agriculture in
programs.
the Latino community,
Yeah,
right?
everybody, and it's just this mindset that I think that's what pushes me to really
So,
uh, create something new.
okay.
Now, when it comes to corporate events, yes, I was always one of the attendees, and it was just like people wearing white collar and shaking hands and yes and giving numbers and statics and but I was like, we need something else. We need to add that flavor to events like this. And so every event, the corporate event, like the Latino Hispanic Business Day proclamation and any other, I'm always trying to bring some music, some food, something that goes with the event and an extra, so that gives the event a little disruption. So people are like, I've seen the faces when people leave the events. They seem to like it, and that's, to me, that's the biggest reward. There's a lot behind an event, whether it's a 10 people event, 20, 1,000 people, 10,000. There's always work to do, but to me, the smile on people's faces, that's when they leave the events that we put together, is just, to me, that's priceless. And we come up with the idea, and again, my family is always there to support me, and they're part of it, and that's actually what makes it easier for me, having that support.
So, what is something that you have planned for this year that we can be on the lookout for?
Well, I really from the marketing perspective, I normally don't say it until it comes out, but I mean, I guess, of course, COVID took everything in a different direction, and actually, for the last 2 years, most of our events, like the Latino, the Herencia Hispana Festival and the Hispanic Latino Gala, were virtual. And it didn't feel the same, to be honest with you. Although I like the part that we were able to link with other countries live, and they were talking about the traditions as they were walking through the villages. So that was that was amazing. That was disruptive. However, I like the face to face, and hopefully this year everything is going back to normal in a way. So we're planning on coming back with the gala. We're planning on coming back with the Herencia Hispana Festival and some other events that we have. So, but eventually you guys will get an invitation and be a part of it.
Okay. So, and there are things that you do with business owners as well. And, speaking with Tim today, it sounds like there's a lot of opportunity for Anglo Latino Promotions and the Chamber of Commerce to get together, also with Richland County, with small businesses. So, there are ways that you could still work and bring that social event or bring that social disruptive into a what would be considered a business conference or business event, different things like that.
Yes, there's always opportunities, but again, like Tom was saying, I mean, you need to think fast and you need to act fast. So of course,
No, he said
think small,
move
but you have to
fast.
move fast. Yes. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, but again, this is the aftermath of COVID, so we are taking it slow right now. There's our lives have changed, and the reason I'm saying this is because I've seen a lot of talent shortage out there. There's companies that are closing because they don't have enough talent to work with. And I personally, I will feel uncomfortable uh, grabbing all these opportunities at once and not being able to deliver. Because one of the things that we like to plan, and this, I like to plan. I like A, B, C, D, and if it's feasible, I will do it. If it's not, just that's I would much rather to have 3 4 events a year than having 20 and not being able to deliver. And I know people are eager to go out there and enjoy festivals and concerts, and it's happening, but it's sometimes you don't have enough staff to really um, to deliver again. So I'm taking it slow, and I know opportunities will come and are coming, but again, we will take the ones we can take for the good of the company, and to have a better outcome with our clients as well.
Thank you very much, Ulysses. Could you leave us with an advice or something like
And
something
like,
motivational, a motivational comment, or a motivational remark for our business community. How can we link that social into our businesses? How can, I mean, just something.
I was at a excuse me. I was at a meeting. It was like it was a round table about a couple of months ago with a big organization. Here there was Latinos, Afro Latinos, there was whites, blacks. We were all at the table, right? And I was pushing it because social issues were brought up. Things from the past. Why, for example, I'm going to be very raw right now. Um, and I will tell you why I'm saying this. The United States buying land from Mexico, and there's people that still living in the past, like blaming and acting in a very uh, not in a way that society needs right now. Same thing that's happening with Russia and Ukraine. They're still fixing things from the past. And the reason that I'm saying this is because during that roundtable, uh, after my comments, we all got to the conclusion that, or reaffirmed that it starts at home. So the only way that you can socially act is to act socially right at home. And us as parents, we have a big challenge doing that. We have to be very open minded because I can put up together a beautiful event, probably that your kids heard about in school. They have a flyer and everything, but if mom or dad don't allow that to happen, kids will stay the same. So everything starts at home. You ask me, how can we socially better ourselves? Starts at home. Starts with mom and dad grabbing a book, watching a movie that's from a different culture, from and accept reality that especially the U.S. is some, like you said it earlier, it's a melting pot. Where we are right now here in West Colombia, we have 35 Hispanic businesses. We have around 10 Asian businesses, and plus the African American businesses that we have in West Colombia. So the day we learned how to embrace all of that, the day that we accept our surroundings, that's going to change. So what we do at Anglo Latino is a small part of what really needs to be done. But again, another thing that you asked and advice, what I've learned throughout the years is do what you love, do what your passion is, because it comes a lot easier.
Thank you very much, Ulysses. We really appreciate you. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful month, and thank you for this wonderful interview. Okay, thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
All right. Again, this is Vanessa Mota, president of the International Chamber of Commerce. And thank you, Carol. This has been a great pleasure. And again, I am a proud member and president for the United States for CAINEM. And I love the vision and everything. And so let's continue growing. Thank you. Adios.